Hi, friends. Welcome to Take 3 Talks. I'm Steffi, and I'm going to be your host. Today, I am being accompanied by my incredible co-host, Meijun. Say hello to the audience.
Hello to the audience.
How are you? Give us an out of 10. Give us a number. It's my new thing.
I feel 8 right now.
Yeah?
Earlier I was 7.5.
That's great.
I got a little 0.5 from after a couples therapy session.
Awesome.
So that's good.
I think I am feeling like I'm solid 6.3.
Nice.
Like, I would say like oscillating towards a 6.7, 7.
Mm-hmm.
But my beautiful friends, are you so happy that we're here sitting together? You know, I'm sure that some of you guys are like working, doing dishes, walking, driving, commuting, pooping. And I'm just happy that you've accompanied us and that you decided to press play, because today we have episode 23, which is a Q&A. This could be a fun intro,
Yeah.
you know, into like breaking that ice.
I'm excited.
Yes. So the way that I have categorized these questions is via 4 categories. Category number 1, questions basic. Category number 2, business/career.
Mm-hmm.
Category number 3, food and travel. Category number 4, relationship self. Okay, so there's 4 categories.
Perfect.
Really quickly, I wanted to get us started on a quick fire round.
Yeah.
I've been listening to this podcast I really like. It's called Reconsidering. They always do this with their guests, and I'm envious, so I'm
fire
applying
round.
it.
Okay.
Mountain or ocean?
Mountain.
Okay, I would say mountain too.
Mm-hmm.
Food or drink?
Food.
Food. 100%. Okay, food. Alcoholic drink or non-alcoholic drink?
I would say non-alcoholic.
I'll probably say, unless it's kombucha, alcoholic. Plants or flowers? You know, like flat, like planties that are like just leaves, or like flower planties.
I think for me, it would be flowers.
Yeah,
Just colors, you know.
that's
And
nice.
colors make me feel a little bit happier.
Okay, orange or lemon?
Orange.
I would say lemon, 100%.
Yeah.
Avocado or rice?
Rice, 100%. I
I
cannot.
think that was a bad one.
I cannot not have rice.
Avocado or pear?
Like
He
the
really likes pear. The
fruit pear.
See, not the Jamaican avocado. That's funny.
In Jamaica, pear is also avocado.
Like, yeah, in patois.
That's like 2 completely different things.
I know,
I
but
think
would you rather
I would
avocado
probably.
or pear? Because you really like pears, like the little pears that you really like.
I think I'll go with pear.
I would
Yeah.
go with avocado.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm done with the fire round.
Okay. Perfect.
Now let's get started.
Yeah.
Let's get started with the basic question that nobody ask, but I feel like everybody has. How do you pronounce your name?
My name.
Like, to everybody, like, can you just like give them an idea of like when they see Meijun,
Mm-hmm.
how do you pronounce that name, whether you're Espanol speaker
Yeah.
or you're like English speaker? Like, can we clarify maybe the pronunciation of your name? You know?
Yes.
'Cause, like, maybe some people don't know.
Yeah, the pronunciation for my name is May, June, like the months of the year in English, May and June. So just combine both of them.
May,
and that's how you
June,
pronounce.
July,
yeah.
August.
Exactly. I feel like I've so overused that joke
No,
that
I love it.
that I don't use it, and I'll just let you use it for me. But that's how you pronounce my name, May June, whether it's in English, Spanish, or you're in completely different language.
And
But
I would
that's how
say
you
in
pronounce my name.
Spanish, you can put it as like Meijun, como Meijun, como you can like
Yeah.
almost add like replace
Like
like,
a
the J with a double
Yun.
L. ¿Me entiendes? That's how I explained it to my aunt Nelly and stuff, for
Because
example.
they had issues pronouncing it.
Meijun, because they
Meijun, yeah.
they like didn't know how to kind of like make the compound of the sound.
Yeah.
So I was like, imagine the J's are double L's.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like Meijun,
Yeah.
you know?
Okay, makes sense.
I think that's kind of how I would explain it as well.
Yep.
In case you don't know English. I don't know.
Mhm.
Maybe. Okay.
I think that answers the question.
That answers the question.
Yeah.
You can pronounce my name like Estefi
Like Steffi with an E.
in the front.
Steffi.
Okay, so what languages do you speak?
Okay.
I speak Spanish and English.
Nice. I speak English. I would say that that's my first language, even though my mother tongue would be Chinese, but Chinese as in like my native Chinese, which is Hakka. So I speak English, Hakka, a little bit of Cantonese. I can probably survive. Spanish. I'm a little bit more fluent and more comfortable in Spanish now, and I speak Jamaican patois. So I speak those languages. And I can say my name in Mandarin, my Chinese name in Mandarin.
Say your Chinese name in Mandarin.
Cai Mei Jun.
You're so cute. You sound like the little Google Translate. Okay, so now, where do you live? Like, where do we live?
We live in Quito, Ecuador.
Now,
Currently, we're based there. Yes.
Yes. Now, ¿por qué están en Ecuador? Why are you guys in Ecuador?
We are in Ecuador because that was the place and location we decided to set up our home base because of logistic and just logistical reasons. It just made the most sense for us because before we were in New York, and we needed to find a new place to start our freelance studio and to start our new meaningful creative life. And Quito and Ecuador made the most sense because you had family there just in case we needed any type of like support. And anyone to lean
Guillermo,
on, and
to
for Guillermo,
to take care of Guillermo. Like I always say
a
that
camp,
the biggest
Yeah.
reason why we chose Ecuador is Guillermo.
and he was
I always
legally,
really, like,
yeah,
Really, the bottomest of the bottom
yeah,
lines.
that's true.
And he's like, everywhere else we kind of could have figured it out, just the two of us.
Yeah,
But we didn't want Guillermo to go through quarantine. We didn't want Guillermo to go through like being alone. We knew he was a really anxious dog. Like where you see him now is like nowhere where he was not before.
Yeah.
Like me, such a tough little cookies. Like you too. But I would say the bottomless of the lines was because my parents could take care of him.
right.
And he got really well along with my mom.
True.
So we were like, okay, at the bottom line,
Yeah.
at least he would have a place to stay as we traveled.
Mm-hmm.
Because even though we say like start a freelance creative studio, like the idea was to be on the road,
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We just kind of didn't understand what it took to get there.
Agree. Yeah.
I digress.
Uh-huh.
So I would say everything that you said,
Plus taking care of Guillermo.
but the main thing,
yeah.
Guillermo.
Agreed.
Like logistically, it made the most sense because currency, languages, accessibility to some sort of modernity, being able to speak, and understand kind of what the hell you're doing in a way.
Yeah.
Because we were like, okay, we're about to like really uproot our lives
Change
that we
everything
thought
again,
we
yeah.
were gonna have. Like we're not also about to like we were like cautiously jumping off the waterfall.
And it was
we were like, we needed a landing pad.
And it was a kind of an easier transition, because it wasn't like completely foreign.
Yeah.
So I think totally agree. And I just wanted to repeat, it was not a big problem for Guillermo to come to Quito
At all.
Where before we were thinking of going to Hong Kong, but in Hong Kong, Guillermo would have had issues entering the country.
Yeah.
He would have had to be quarantined.
We have a whole blog on our website where you can read.
Yeah.
Like Meijun wrote it literally the week that we landed here.
Totally, because it was so dramatic. It was so traumatic. I was like, because coming into the country or just traveling in general, being detained is one of my worst fears, and especially if it's like not me, if it's Guillermo being detained, that would have been the worst case scenario.
And there was a lot of paperwork that we needed to do, like timed.
Yeah.
Like you could only do it like 2 days, and you had to come from Albany, and you had to send it like
10 days
and
before.
it was like,
it's like all these things. Yeah.
So all of that is in the blog. I'm sure there's stuff that's changed because of COVID, but yeah, the whole process we went through is in the blog.
Totally.
So yeah, ¿por qué están en Ecuador? Because it made the most sense to start our nomadic life. Nomadic creative life that we knew was going to be a lot of uncertainty, and we needed at least as very careful but also eager, adventurous push creatively,
Risk
boundary
takers.
risk takers that we are,
Yeah.
we were still kind of like, okay, we need to some sort of realistic. We have a certain budget. Like rent here is very accessible in like
Mhm.
smaller towns, and yeah, we kind of had a plan of sorts.
Yeah.
So things just snowballed from there, but then the pandemic happened, and then we are here now, but this is not what we thought it would look like.
Yeah.
And that's kind of a question that we have later on that some of you asked. But I would say those are the basic questions. Those are the ones that went into my basic bucket.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I want to ask you, do you want one from business, career, food, travel, or relationship self?
Let's do food.
Okay.
Yeah.
Food you hate.
Food I hate. I don't like olives.
Green olives.
I don't like olives
And black
in general.
olives too, right?
Just olives in general. I'm not a big fan of olives at all. There's just this taste with olives that I can't, stand.
The one, I don't know if there's something that I don't like. I would say that
Fishy fish.
I would rather, that's what I'm saying. Like, I think like in terms of food, I would rather not eat like raisins. And like, I would rather not eat like, maybe like, I don't know, like a very sweet something, you know, but like, I would say that my biggest thing that I hate is when things smell like they taste. Like I always tell Mason, like fishy fish kills me. Like when a mop, like someone has cleaned the table and it smells like wet mop, or when you're like eating the rice and it's been in the Tupperware and you can like taste the Tupperware.
Texture
like,
is a big thing for you.
And smell. I think the smell is
Texture
really,
and
really
smell.
big. Like
Yeah.
just really, really big. Yeah. I like, that's why we have two sinks in our house, because we have very different
different
sink
ways. We have different ways
languages.
of dealing with sinks and dishes.
and wet smelling.
It's been a big
gooey things.
it's been a big supporting system for our relationship. With that, I think the next question couldn't go into relationship.
So okay, food I hate. That's the answer. Okay, wait. Next question,
Yeah.
because we're in the food.
Oh, okay. We're still in food.
Favorite food for each of you.
Say that again.
Favorite food for each of you.
Favorite food. I have a lot. But my favorite, if I'm thinking of my favorite, I would eat this every single day. And I love fried chicken, but I can't eat fried chicken every single day. I think for me, what I can eat every single day is a bowl of delicious rice with like some type of like pork. I think some type of it changed from before. Some type of pork that has a little bit of the cuero, the skin, and
Like pork belly.
pork belly, yeah. I think like a nice pork belly dish I can eat every day with white rice and nothing else.
No vegetables.
I don't need it, but, I can. That would be helpful, but
What if you were to choose a vegetable with that dish? What would it be?
a vegetable with that dish, I could do some nice sauteed broccoli and carrots to go with that. Yeah,
That's nice.
yeah.
Okay, but your favorite Ecuadorian food,
Oof.
like your one dish, favorite Ecuadorian dish, what would it be? Just really quickly.
I think I would do. This was hard. Papa con cuero.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now I would say my favorite food that I could eat for kind of like you said, like your white rice. For me, it would have to be some sort of curry. I miss it so much. I can't wait to go to Cuenca just to eat that.
Thai curry.
That green Thai curry.
Oh yeah.
But I don't want curry that's too thick. I want like a curry that's coconutty and
I don't want curry that's too curry.
And like, I don't want like a curry that's seco, like seco de pollo. Like I
Yeah.
just don't. I need
Authentic.
I need authentic Thai curry, and that's a spicy, like actually spicy that it makes your lips just be like.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
With rice, and definitely it would be like a vegetable tofu curry. Like it would be like the most gorgeous, silky, crunchy tofu, and like peppers and mushrooms and I don't know. What was the name of that place that we used to order it from in Brooklyn? I need
don't
to go
remember.
there.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if it was not like the most authentic. Like, I just need that.
Yeah.
So that's what I would eat.
Gotcha.
And then favorite Ecuadorian food, I would say would have to be chuta. I would say tiene que ser como
Seco de algo.
no, un mote, como un mote con maybe un mote sucio, un mote pillo, maybe un mote sucio con huevito frito encima,
Ah, yeah.
una yuquita, yuquita como
Ajá.
con achote, así una yuquita frita con huevito frito encima, así.
Con tu ají.
Ajá, con ajicito, algo
Sí.
así rico.
Ah, yeah.
No sé, o tigrillo,
Riquísimo.
así que rico. Okay, comfort meals.
More food?
See, there's 3 more questions.
Comfort meal?
I think you kind of responded with the white rice and pork belly.
But like another one could be like I think fried chicken for me is comfort meal too.
Yeah.
Like a nice, solid, like juicy, not too doughy fried chicken, with like soft but crispy French fries.
Tropi Burger sponsor us.
Yo, guys, if you live in Quito, if you live in Ecuador, try pollo frito, fried chicken from Tropi Burger.
Yeah. I
It's
know,
not
just
gonna
trust us.
disappoint.
A
Yeah.
little bit greasy though, but delicious.
I think it could be a little bit, but I think it's
fine.
still light enough.
Yeah, it's fine.
It's really good.
You'll just eat it once.
Yeah.
Like in every month.
So I think comfort fried chicken for me.
I would say mine, if I'm hungover, it's gonna have to be white rice and sort of pasta sauce, like tomato sauce or ketchup, with white rice.
with a fried egg.
Gooey white rice. No,
Just
if I'm
that.
hungover, that's my comfort meal.
Interesting. Yeah.
And if I'm just sad, I would say like a nice sushi.
Oh yeah.
Sushi with like edamame and like seaweed salad and like of course curry too
Yeah.
would be great.
Uh-huh.
Or like a tofu soup. Like that's comfort to
Delish.
me. I think I was Asian in like my past lives.
Oh my god, wait, I have one more.
Yeah.
Another one for me is like a nice, not Chinese food, like General Tso chicken or sweet sesame chicken.
So fried.
I guess, yeah. But like that flavor, that
Yeah.
flavor with like whether
Sweet
it's
and
fried rice or
soury.
white rice, yeah, sweet and sour, like orange chicken, that type of chicken, I think would be another like guilty pleasure of mine.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I like that question. Guilty pleasure.
yeah.
I would say my guilty pleasure would be like a solid, delicious, big ball of Maldini dark chocolate.
ice cream
with like a nice solid ball of Baldini. What is that one that you get all the time? Salted caramel?
Salted
the
caramel.
tiramisu.
There's
no,
tiramisu, yeah.
is the one that you get.
tiramisu ice cream.
Yeah, it has a little bit of that salty cheese in there. Oh, with like a nice ball of tiramisu
Yeah.
and a big piece of cake banana bread from our.
Ooh.
You guys, we just recorded at least 20 more minutes of this and just realized my computer had said it's too slow. So I'm sorry. You missed we were almost done with the podcast.
Oh my god.
Meijin is really angry at me, I feel like.
I'm not
right
angry
now.
at you.
And I'm gonna shut down and start crying.
No.
Because
this
it
happens.
takes so long to even get him to sit to a podcast with me, and now I fucked up. I'm like, fuck.
It's okay. It happens. Like if it happened to me, I would love for you to be understanding with me as well. Like you did not mean for it to not record.
Oh yeah. Okay, so
Let's continue.
we were just saying that the guilty pleasure for me would be a nice big ball of dark chocolate Baldini and tiramisu Baldini with a big slice of banana bread from our vecino.
I think we can get some of that today.
That would be nice. Maybe. And then next thing that we have here is favorite place you visited.
Favorite place I visited in New York. In the States, the favorite place I visited was Portland because that was the first trip that we went on as a family.
Yeah.
As a family of dog parents. And it was just so perfectly planned out, from the places to visit, to eat, to see, to the Airbnb. It was just so magical being there as the three of us for the first time.
Estevi from the past did such a good job.
Oh, you killed it.
Honestly, there was a whole guide just symbol filtered, color coded.
Yeah,
Like every
literally,
single day was
literally.
planned.
We have it as a guide, right?
Yeah, we do
Yeah.
have it as a guide on our
So you
website.
can download it, guys.
But yeah, that was really
Uh-huh.
nice. And then what about in Ecuador?
in Ecuador,
Oh, and then you also said New Orleans.
I
before.
love. Yeah, I also love New Orleans because that's home to the best fried chicken in the world. Willie Mays, guys, go to Willie Mays for fried chicken when you're in New Orleans.
Which is 100% the favorite, like your favorite.
my favorite fried
comfort
chicken.
thing,
Like
yeah.
comfort food. Like love
But
it.
like that Willie Mays fried chicken is your favorite.
It's just so
fried
good.
chicken.
There's
Yeah.
just something about it that's made with so much love. I'm sure there are a lot of great places for fried chicken, but that's a place
Yeah.
I've tried that has been the best.
Literally.
In Ecuador, one of my favorite places is El Cajas National
Yeah.
Park, and that place feels like Narnia to me,
Yeah.
being on a completely different planet. So beautiful, guys. We also have a blog about this, so you can check it out if you don't believe me.
As a film from the past, we're bloggers.
We
But we're
blogged
still
it.
bloggers,
Yeah,
okay?
yeah. But it was so magical being there. And another place I love was Quilotoa
Yeah.
here, and that's a crater lake lagoon spot close to Quito,
Yeah.
like 3 hours away. And I've never seen crater lakes before. They don't have volcanoes, I don't think, in Jamaica. So I haven't seen it before. My parents have not seen it before.
I literally, so we were just saying in the
Yeah.
part that you guys couldn't hear because my supercomputer quit.
Yeah.
We were just saying how I never thought, like I thought Quilotoa was cool, but I never thought Quilotoa was that cool
Yeah.
until Major's parents saw it, and I was like, oh, this shit's really cool.
Yeah.
And we also said in our last conversation where you guys didn't hear because I fucked up. I think I can stop that.
It's okay. Yeah.
But we also said that we want to challenge ourselves to actually go there and sleep there in our
Uh-huh.
car
Yes.
and like walk all the way down and do the whole trail trek.
Yes.
Because we would love to do that. So we
think
said that
so.
we were going to pick a weekend and do it
Yes.
because we also won that giveaway of that
Yeah.
cabana. So maybe it can be that same trip.
That sounds
Because it's
perfect.
close.
That
I don't know
sounds
if it's
perfect.
close, but we can figure it out.
Yeah.
But the point is,
Yeah.
I really love that. Is there anything else in Ecuador?
No, I think that's it for now.
I would say for me, favorite places would have to be 100% Seattle, Portland, and New Orleans
Mm-hmm.
that I visited together. Visited by myself, Prague, no doubt, is like my favorite. New York, of course. And then in Ecuador, Cuenca, El Cajas, Ayampe, La Casa de Manolo, like that one trip we did. The ocean in Ayampe is just like, it's just different. I don't know. I haven't been in other places that the ocean is just like, it just hits. I think Playa Negra,
Mm-hmm.
around Mompiche as well.
Yeah.
One of my favorite places I've been. And in Babura,
Mm-hmm.
just like the province, like
Yeah.
the vibe that it has, and
yeah,
like
yeah.
the towns like Cotacachi, Atuntaki, like San Pablo del Lago, like
Mhm.
just being around there is just so, like, I don't know, like
Is that grounding?
grounding. It
Yeah.
has like such a good vibe.
Yeah. I feel you on that.
And then I don't know if we answered this, but I think just what's your favorite thing to cook and eat?
Mhm.
And I don't know if you can hear it in the past, but we'll quickly just say I think my favorite thing that I'm cooking right now is I'm not cooking, and it's my. I told Major in the last thing, like my favorite thing to eat is my favorite things to cook are the things that you cook and I eat. But is buying a humita from the Vessi, which is like a corn,
Bless you.
a corn with cheese,
Uh-huh. Like
and I fry it like a little cake of sorts, like a little tamal,
uh-huh.
and I fry it and then I make a fried egg on it.
That sounds.
I love that.
I love when you make that.
And then your favorite thing to cook and eat right now?
Favorite thing to cook right now. I get like really nice fritada
Yeah.
from Wellfed,
Yeah.
and I make my flavor of fritada.
Yeah.
I cut it up into small chunks, and I make like my own either barbecue fritada or like an Asian type of fritada, and over a nice bowl of fresh white rice.
I would also say your noodles, your creamy mushroom
My
noodles.
creamy
are bomb.
mushroom cheesy noodles. That's also very easy and nice
Serious,
to make too.
I think that would be in our income makers in the question that you guys will hear in the future. So now we're gonna go into the business career
Okay.
categories.
Perfect.
So any business regrets?
I have 2 business regrets. With the asterisk and caveat that everything happens for a reason, and we learn from our mistakes, and you know it's not about going back in the past, but it's moving forward. For me, the first one is not listening to our gut and taking on projects we feel like we should not have taken on in the first place. This happened a couple times in our business very early on, and it was just not a right fit for us. There was a lot of misunderstanding from both ends on what the expectations and the end deliverables were, and what we thought they wanted, we executed, and it wasn't what they wanted. And there was a lot of shame that came with it, because they're like, oh, this is not what we wanted, and this is not good
100%.
enough for us. But we thought that this was what they wanted.
We went
So-
in like a really big shame storm.
Yeah, there's a lot of shame storm, because we were like, oh, they're going to tell everyone that we're not a good studio, don't work with us. So we're telling ourselves a lot of negative
Yeah.
stories. And that could have been avoided if we were just more clear and more leaning towards our gut versus fear of missing out on an opportunity, you know? So that's the first one. And the second one is not being more proactive in the get-go, and just more knowledgeable, I guess, getting more knowledge about how to properly get a payment processing system set up for us here in Quito, because it's so difficult, because it's hard to get automatic payments and accept specific credit cards, or just accepting payment from international clients
Digitally is really hard.
is it's a big struggle, and we're trying to figure that out this year and get that all set up, but I wish we had gotten that figured out earlier. So that's those are my two regrets, I would say.
I would say for me it would be how much gas, and again with the same caveat and the same asterisk of like, I know that everything that we did and we learned has gotten us to where we are, but I think the amount of gas we put in to launching Patreon, like I remember how much anxiety went into it. I remember how much we fought. I remember nights of without sleep, like doing take 3 vitamins, being so out of our comfort zones, like doing scripts and memorizing scripts and editing and adding subtitles and writing scripts, and then doing it and then editing it, and then being so hard on ourselves, and learning how to give each other feedback, and learning that's not about the ego. And it was really hard. So I would say my biggest regret would just be like how much fire I think there was in that moment, created from our business into our personal relationship and life.
Gets muddy.
Yeah, how much fire that created. I think that's one of my biggest business regrets. Because I think that I 100% agree with the two regrets that you shared, and I agree with those things. Like I would say those things now, but I would say with the first one, like I think the biggest thing is like when we were unloyal to our own intuition and our own gut. Was when now we've regretted it, because there was a point where we had this huge, what people said was this huge opportunity, and like it would transcend borders, and it would have really like changed the level of our business in a way. And we confidently said no, and we confidently met with like people that we knew had power and and
in the whole country
and like I'm just happy that those moments that we did follow our gut, we followed it to the T, and we did not cheat ourselves on opportunities that we know we can give ourselves, because we think that others can give us more than we can give ourselves. Because I think that's what's created Take 3. It's like the ability to dream in us first, just as much as we dream in others.
Absolutely.
But like being like, how do we make this into our business? How do we make this into our money making? How do we make this into life that we can sustain, that we can like rent, and that we can live off of, you know?
It's true. I love that example, because it just makes you think like, what would it have been like if we had taken that, you know? It would have been so not what we were looking for. And I think this is a really good advice for us to keep taking on our own, and also for other business owners and studios, that if there's this inkling of doubt that this just doesn't feel right, it just doesn't go with what you really truly believe in, it's probably not right for you, you know. And I think just follow that.
And I would say that non-amount, like most of the time it's the cheapest budgets and like the cheapest clients that are the ones that you have these things with. So don't think that these $200, like I know it comes from a place of privilege, that this $200 project is going to be just $200. Like it's going to end up being like a $1,500 project, you know, whether that is in time, in mental health, and crying, in relationship, and whatever it is. Like shit's expensive when you don't trust yourself.
Agreed.
Question number 2 on your business and career is, what do you do as a business? You do so many things.
That's very, very true.
The way that I want to phrase this is like, what do we do as income makers? How do we make an income right now? Or so far?
That makes a lot of sense. How do we make money and for Take 3 Studio? So I see Take 3 as this umbrella brand that has a Take 3 Studio, the creative studio side of our business. And this is where we do things for you. This is where we work and collaborate with small business owners, different brands, people, human beings, entrepreneurs, creativepreneurs that align with our values. And we help them to create and develop their brand identity from scratch, or whether it's redesign or just a complete a complete start from fresh or a redesign. We do that for you. From, you know, creating the logos to the brand guidelines to collaterals to just overall like advice for your brand. Naming, mission statements. We do all of that. And then we also create Squarespace website design, like Squarespace websites for these brands as well. So that they have a digital home base for their business and to also see their brand identity living on digital as well. So we do those 2 things. And also we do creative consulting on a case-by-case basis. On a
case-by-case basis, and mostly to existing clients.
Clients that we've worked with before.
As like add-ons.
Exactly. So that we can help them with ideating, coming up with outside of the box concepts for launch campaigns for a new product that they're coming out with, or
maybe
social media.
They have new team members and they don't understand how to explain to them like the blog or like their digital ecosystem. Maybe it's like putting a workshop on their digital ecosystem, like I just said, or sitting with them and consulting regarding their brand launch, etc. I think I like that. And then I would say the other side of the umbrella is Take 3 Uni, which is our creative mentorship program. It's a community, a digital space that we host as Take 3, and it's a safe space that it's aligned with, again, our values, but mostly as like our values as workers of a freelance life. That learned that life is, 1, really lonely sometimes, 2, it gets like you're doing a lot of different things that you've never done before, so you are not really sure what even you're doing.
It's all these decisions and mini decisions that you have to make as your own business owner.
And sometimes it's like we have the ability of having each other, but sometimes you would love to have a third person, or maybe somebody doesn't have another creative there or a person by their side. So having just somebody to like email to and be like, hey, what do you guys think about this? And like posting on the community and like, hey, I have this reel, do you guys think I should like take it down? Like, you know, I posted it but I was having trouble, or like, hey, like, you know, you guys released a podcast before, like what does that look like? What was your process like? Do you have any tips? I think that is Take 3 Uni. And of course an add-on and a plus of the community is being able to have one-on-one sessions, mentorship sessions with us. And unlike Take 3 Studio, this is the place where we don't do things for you. We accompany you, we guide you, we tell you what we would do if we were in your shoes. We give you homework, we cheerlead you on. But this is the place where it's you. We are just here beside you, and that's the whole point, is to have a community of people all around the world beside you as you're going through your entrepreneurship journey.
And in terms of how to make money from this, from Take 3 Uni, we have a annual subscription model at the moment where you make a 1-year commitment to be part of the community, to have access to a lot of perks, which includes a monthly live Q&A. We have monthly homework hours. We have a monthly group homework discussion chat club type of thing that we're going to be testing out this year.
We've been doing it for a while. Just
Yeah.
Majun is like still adapting to the fact that we're meeting separately for
It's a
an
separate
hour
thing that we've made into a separate, completely separate thing, but it still has the same goal and mission.
to learn.
And also, as you said, like perks to buy one-on-one sessions separately
Yeah.
at an additional cost, a la carte when you need
Yeah.
it. So there's
Yeah.
no commitment to do that mandatorily.
Yeah.
And again, like it's, as Steffi mentioned, it's a safe digital space for entrepreneurs of different areas and different industries, whether
Yeah.
you're a lawyer, you're a chef, you're interior designer, architect, creative,
Food science.
whatever, food scientist,
Sound healer.
whatever it is,
Therapist.
you come and you be part of this community and you just learn and grow and share and cheer each other on and support each other.
And it doesn't matter where in the
Yeah.
world you are. Or
Exactly.
how old you are.
Yeah.
Or what your skill sets are.
Exactly.
So that's how we make money. To summarize, it's through our clients, brand development, custom Squarespace websites, creative consulting, and our one-on-one mentorship program, as well as our online community that we host. And question numero tres, which is, do you guys do different things? So I would say that we very much do different things in terms of our skill sets. Like there's parts of projects and like branding projects that I take versus website projects that you take, like, you know, like leads kind of in different areas,
Yeah.
right? Like I work on the brand direction on a branding project, then you take it, you do the sketching, you really visualize things and put them down on paper.
Exactly.
Then I take it, then you start digitizing it a little bit, then I take it and I go into those nitty gritty little itty bitty details and making sure that everything is balanced and that je ne sais quoi is added. Then I go into colors and typography, and then we kind of like
tag team
again when it comes down to like
mood,
putting these ideas into reality, which is mock-ups.
Yeah, exactly.
And how do we envision this?
Yeah.
And then I would say in the website side of things, then you take more of a role of like project management, client engagement, production,
freelancer,
like a person I outsource.
Exactly.
You know? And then I lead that part of the custom Squarespace sites. And then when it comes into creative consultant, I think we very much tag team, but you play a big role there because of your art direction background, I think. And then I play a big role into designing your
execution background,
designing your slides better.
Yes, the execution part. Yeah.
So that's what we do in terms. So we do very different things.
We lean on each other's skill sets.
We're very different creatives.
Yeah.
And we're very different people también. Even though we've known each other for so long, we are learning every single day more and more and more about each other. So yes, we do different things. So question, when you graduated, where did you think you'd be at 31 career wise?
Whoa.
We remember this is the one that we talked about during breakfast.
When I graduated, where did I see myself at 31?
When you graduated from college, so in 2015, where did you think you'd be in 2023, which is you at 31?
I think that at that moment, I saw myself being a relatively high level creative person, a creative lead, either a creative director or an executive creative director at an advertising agency.
Yeah.
I see myself being in that, I guess, advertising corporate-ish, but also not as corporate type of agency, leading a group of younger creatives and just guiding them the way I would have liked to be guided. That's how I saw myself, still in America, maybe with a green card or something. That's how that's where I saw myself.
Okay, so same question for me.
Yeah.
Where did I see myself when I was in college? So in 2015, how did I see myself when I became 29?
Yeah.
Like, how did I see myself at 29?
Yeah.
When I graduated from college, I would say that I would have probably said that I was at an independent design studio that had offices in San Francisco and London and Hong Kong and Shanghai and
Latin America.
maybe some Latin America, like maybe some Mexico. Maybe they were maybe I helped open, their Latin American office.
Yeah.
But I would say that some sort of like design driven, whether that was like editorial, like playing like an editorial design role or something. I think that's where I saw myself, and probably like just very independent. I don't think like it would be one of those people that just travels a lot.
Yeah.
In a way,
Yeah.
I think.
I can also see you, exactly as you just mentioned, and also creating new innovative ways of consuming editorial.
Yeah.
I can see that,
Yeah, that's cool.
like incorporating AR, like, back then it wasn't as big, but I see how you could have done something with that.
Yeah.
Like create like fun, engaging new ways of consuming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
I think that's where I thought I would be, but now the second question to this question is, so where were you? Where did you think you would be when Accenture bought Wirestone? So like this was like when you were already working, you had already kind of been like, your cherry had been popped and you knew you were not working at like Wyden and Kennedy and like doing ads for
Droga.
Nike or Droga.
Fun fact, yeah.
You weren't like doing commercials and whatever or etc. that you thought.
Yeah.
So once like your cherry had been popped and you had been working at like an agency that had already been acquired.
Yeah.
You were working maybe for some more icky clients,
not so
but not
fun
yet.
clients.
No, exactly. You hadn't reached that point yet.
Yeah.
I'm just setting up like so that your brain can have time acquainting to the time period. Where did you think you'd be at 31 back then? So this was probably like what, 2017, 2016, 2017.
Yeah.
2 years after we had graduated. Oof. Where did you think you would be?
I think that because of all the stress of the years of the visa, in that moment, 2017, 2018, my creativity was kind of juiced out, and I was just in like comfort survival mode of just being in the country legally. So I think that I would have been, if I didn't change like careers or make that big decision to leave, I would have probably continued with that comfort and just going with the motion of, okay, I'm just going to do what I'm asked and continue to get my paycheck, try to climb this corporate ladder again to get more money and get a raise and just be in this country legally until I get my green card, because my parents made all the sacrifice for me to, be in America. So it's not always about my happiness, but I need to make
you had goalposts.
Yeah, I had a goalpost to meet this, like, okay, I need to make this amount of money, make sure I'm settled and all that stuff. So I think that I would have continued on that path.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say that for me, so that question would be when I was starting, maybe when I was starting OneWeb, like when I was starting, like when Razorfish had been acquired to Publicis Sapient, I would say maybe the same timing as you. So like I was going from like creative company to like a very mediatic, like media consulting business kind of company. I thought that I would have probably at right now, because of the realities of have had to be in a visa and like on an H-1B and like not being able to switch places. Unlike you, I would have probably gone to a student visa again. I don't think I would have like stuck it out, but I would have stuck it out in New York. I would just like maybe enrolled in like
NYU,
and not necessarily NYU, but like the Miami Ad School or like the I don't know, New York, like FIT, or like
Mm-hmm.
like what it was, like New York, like the New School, or like something like that.
Yeah.
Like maybe
SVA.
I don't know, that was expensive. Maybe
True.
something like cheaper,
Yeah.
you know, but gone back into an F1
Right.
probably, like an F1 visa,
Yeah.
and gone into some sort of like master's program or like specialization or just some sort of other degree,
I can see that.
and then go back into the industry.
I can see
I think
that.
that's where I would be.
Yeah.
Or I think I would be.
Yeah.
Okay. So this ends business and careers.
Woo.
Oh my gosh.
And how much time are we at?
48 minutes. That's
Wow, that's awesome.
great. Is there anything from business and career here that you'd like to share as like a question, as a basic question? I don't think so. I don't have
No.
any other questions.
No, just advice. Basically, just all as whether you're starting, especially if you're starting from scratch, make sure you know your numbers really well and have a solid budget, like tracker system. Whether we use Airtable, and that's been super helpful for us because even to today we still use it and I still keep track of it month to month. And it's always important to know what your investments and expenses are each month, and also what your income is each month, so that you can kind of know what the numbers are and not always 100% lean into the emotional part of it. Once you know your numbers, you are able to be like, okay, I've done good enough, and I've done my best, and it's good enough this month.
And this is something
Yeah.
that connects to that podcast that we had listened to,
Mhm.
that I shared in the community, which the reconsidering episode with
Yeah.
Margaret something.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And she talked about how if we don't define what's enough and we don't
Yeah.
define that, then sometimes we're never able to arrive. Because
Exactly.
we're always kind of going,
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
And also when we're defining so many goals también, sometimes you get sidetracked by trying to achieve those goals that you're
Mhm.
never actually present in
Right.
achieving those goals, and you're like, okay, what's next?
Yes, exactly.
So I think that's another business
Yeah.
advice. And I would say the last one for people who work with their significant others,
Mhm.
which I know maybe it's not most of you, but and this is a great connection, I think, to the next category, which is relationship and self.
Mhm.
I would say that make sure that you are taking time to differentiate and compartmentalize your business versus your personal relationship, not only
Mhm.
to your partner and to your friend and to your lover and to
Mhm.
your dog parent person, and just like acknowledge all of those sides of the person that you're with, because it can get really comfortable to sometimes just acknowledge like the work side because you're having a hard time with something in the personal side.
Mhm.
Or
It's
maybe you're
challenging.
avoiding the work thing by like going on dates on the personal side. So I would just say like try and like understand and just really face with the reality that you are multiple people within
Yeah.
the one person that you
Yeah.
are, and that
Yeah.
you are kind of like a Jello layer cake, you know, where like there's different layers to your
Yeah.
personal person. Because sometimes I'm like, well, I'm just so busy and I'm so tired from work, but it's like, well, I needed to show up as my lover now. Like,
Yeah.
what do we do?
Yeah. Yeah.
But also knowing that we only have like 100%, and sometimes you only have 20% of capacity to use. So how can you use with those 20% in a way that is still meaningful to your partner?
Mhm.
Because
And to yourself.
and to yourself, exacto. So I
Yeah.
would say that's a big advice.
That's a great.
That can
That's a
close
great.
that.
Great segue to the next.
To the
topic,
next one.
Final
So the first
topic.
question is, what are you the most proud of?
I'm proud of a lot of things, I think. I'm proud that we haven't given up on each other, even though we've gone through a lot of, roller coaster rides of emotions and arguments and stuff, and we're still fighting through it together and learning more and more about
And choosing each other.
and choosing each other and accepting each other as well, which it's always been a struggle,
Trusting.
which is such a big deal.
And
when
it doesn't
comes
have
down
anything
working
to
with
do
each
even
other.
do with cheating or other people, like at
No.
all.
No, it's just leaning in and trusting that your partner has your back, that your partner is
That your partner is it's individual
yeah
person,
yeah
and that they are a human being that
Mhm.
that doesn't want harm
That we're both on the same page. Yeah.
And that sometimes even if you're not on the same page, like you're open and vulnerable enough to maybe try and get in the same page.
Totally.
Right.
Exactly.
Sorry, I went into you're proud of. But
you
yeah,
got
I
excited.
think I'm proud. I'm proud of that we keep choosing us too.
Yeah, I'm proud of that. I'm proud that we were able to make money from
we
year
are
one.
able to make
that
money.
we are able to make money from what we do and what we love.
Yeah.
Year 1, year 2, year 3, it was a little like a struggle bus because of all the personal, emotional stuff. But because we did so well for year 1, year 2, we were able to take a little more of that personal side of things on.
We're so much
30.
richer in our personal life.
Exactly. I'm really proud that we're, how we do couples therapy.
Yeah.
Because not a lot of people think therapy is helpful or
Yeah.
good for them. I think it's been one of our biggest, most important things that we've invested in. And that's something I'm really proud that we're still doing. We just had couples therapy before this recording. I'm really proud of all the projects that we've put out. Like, it doesn't seem like a lot, but when you really go down to the nitty-gritty of all the projects we've worked on and all the clients that we've worked with and all the good reviews and feedback that we've gotten from the people we have worked with, it means a lot. Every single one that we've worked with, I'm really proud of.
Yeah.
That's something I'm really proud of. And yeah, I think those are some of the things I'm really proud of. Really proud of our individual growth and learning to put ourselves first.
Yeah.
And taking that seriously, because I think it's important for us to have a sustainable business if we continue to do things that we individually love, so that we can show up for each other in a stronger capacity.
Yeah.
So I think those are some of the things I'm really proud of. It's a lot.
I would say that I think you need to do a better job at asking me the question.
Okay, so what
I
are
think the next podcast you can
no, but let me do it right now.
No.
What are some of the things that you're proud of?
No. This is not how it works now. The co-host, you need to pull some job here.
Okay.
But no. What am I the most proud of? Oh my God, so many things. The fact that I'm alive. The fact that I choose to be alive every single day. I think that I've struggled a lot the past 3 years with my mental health and just past life with my mental health. And I never really took a second to, I guess, start healing and stop running. And that's what I'm the most proud of being in Ecuador and doing the work that I need to do in order to hopefully live a better life in my own vessel, which is my body and my mind. And I'm really proud of just stopping constantly every single day, like taking a step back and stopping to think that my worth equals the amount of projects I make or the amount of money I make or the amount of things I make or etc. like for others, and like actually being proud of like going to ceramics, being happy, going on a walk, standing in the rain, watching the sunset, like really happy to feel your feet being warm by the slipper you put on at night because it gets really cold.
Like
I don't know, like
appreciating the mundane stuff,
like those small things. I think because when I feel like when I am constantly in this loop of like grandiosity, like, oh my God, like a new project, a bigger thing, or even like personal achievements, like, oh, before, like, oh, losing weight, or oh, completing this, or oh, the muscles, or and you kind of just go into this like all or nothing where you just stop appreciating the little things, and you're like, oh my gosh, like I'm alive, I have eyes today, still have legs, and I'm breathing, and how does this breath feel like? I think that's the biggest thing I'm proud of.
I love that.
Okay. Biggest fear you each faced in 2022?
Biggest fear?
I would say myself, and I'm still doing that.
Yeah.
That's my answer. Final answer.
Biggest fear. I think the biggest fear was just us, like, like losing like our drive to want to continue to work together.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Yeah, I think because of all last year, because of all the family things that we were going through, and not having some type of north for, you know, Take Three and everything under Take Three, and our, you know, how that affects our relationship. There was a lot of uncertainty into like what the future held, and because of the uncertainty I had a lot of fear of what was going to happen. So I guess that's my answer.
That's the biggest fears you faced.
Yeah.
Okay, great. I would also say that maybe another big fear you faced was going back to Jamaica and like being with your parents. That was a big fear.
Yeah, I think a big fear. Yeah, I agree. A big fear of mine was how it was going to be.
I've been facing that shit since 2020.
How it was going to be living with my parents again after so many years. After like since 2011 was the last time I lived with them.
Yeah.
And going there with you and, you know, being in the middle of this thing was scary. Yeah.
Yeah. And starting therapy with a new therapist too. That's a big fear.
Did I start that last year?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I can't even keep track.
I think
it was before.
Last year.
I started in 2011.
Oh my God. My thing said this is too slow again. Fuck you, computer. I think I need a new computer.
Yeah.
Okay. 2021, not 2011.
Yes.
¿Cómo se ve sus vidas en 5 años? How do you see your life,
in 5
personal
years.
and together, in 5 years? I would say personally, 5 years means 2028, which is like, I would be what? 34?
34, yeah.
Wow.
34, yeah.
I hope to make it to 34. I've always had this thing about 34. I can't say, but I see myself maybe doing really scary things like going down mountains and like escalators. Like that makes me really scared. And I feel like at 34, I would see myself doing scary things. Like, I don't know, maybe like flying, you know, doing some sort of like scary sport hobby. Also maybe really being like more artsy and like earning my life in side hustles, like my ceramics, and getting commissioned to like do little like artistic conceptual ceramic things. And I also see myself maybe traveling solo a lot more.
Nice.
And our life together, I would say that maybe I see us starting to, or maybe have had tried to start our family, like having kids. And that sounds really scary. Hopefully fucking getting engaged.
Putting you on the spot here.
Not because I want to get married. I just want to get an engagement ring and be a happy person. And just like be promised love forever. It's as cliche as it sounds. Fuck it. And having, I think, the non-for-profit side of Take Three maybe set up, and also maybe some minions to help us run some projects.
Happy minions,
of course, that help us run some projects. But I can see us still doing like, maybe we fly around the world to do meetups and workshops and like little like weekend boosters of the Vitamin Advice Library, you know. That's okay.
I love that. I
Major was like raising his hand.
I was raising my hands.
Me.
I was raising my hand because I got excited, because a lot of what she just shared I aligned with, and I was also thinking. So on the team side, me and you, I do see ourselves having kids in 5 years, or kid or kids. Probably another dog or two.
Fuck yeah. Bigger dog.
I see, in terms of the business, Take Three being a lot more well known, and us having more of that. You know, we are the creative heads of Take Three, but we have very passionate people that work at Take Three that we've, you know, taught and guided and also learn from. So I can see that people working for Take
Like
Three.
they follow our processes, but they have their own magic.
Exactly, and everyone adds to Take Three. I see us, also traveling a lot and doing talks and workshops with businesses. I see us being creative. What do you call it? Like advice on the advisory board, creative advisory board of brands.
I love that.
10
years too. That's like a big 10-year goal.
Yeah, I know 5 years seems short, but I can see happening at
starting at least.
Yeah,
in like smaller brands,
and
also being paid for our influence. 100% my goal.
Yeah, maybe we'll be
that's
really
my goal
good
for
influencers.
Guys, that's my goal for 2024. I'm making our media kit, and I have a power of an influence, and all you people need to just trust me.
Yeah,
I need to make money from that.
So I see that. As you said, I see the non-for-profit side as well.
Yes.
Us
saving doggies too.
Like, yeah, being in the kids or the pet and dogs rescue area of the pro bono side of things too. So yeah, I see that as for our business and for our
like
individual.
Guillermo. Imagine Guillermo had like his own little side of like bossing.
Guillermo's rescue fund.
I know.
G's doggy bank.
How old is he going to be? Oh my god, he's going to be like 12 or 13.
Oh my god, stop. Let's not talk about that.
Guillermo dies by then?
From the individual side. From the individual side, I see myself doing, I think, table tennis classes to kids. I have a summer camp, doing more on a consistent basis.
Going to the Olympics.
I need to revisit that goal.
But at least need to go be a guest.
I want to go to a table. I want to go to Olympics once at least. I see myself still being, doing therapy and continue to learn more about myself. Seeing myself continue to grow my relationship with my parents. I see myself going to a soccer game, like a football game with my brother, either a Real Madrid and Barcelona game.
Nice.
So yeah, I see myself doing more things that I've missed out on, like growing up, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Me too. Like, I just want to jump in puddles.
Yeah.
I thought about that the other day. Like, I just want to put rain boots and like go jump in a puddle. Or, like, get muddy,
Do
like
it.
that sounds great.
Yeah.
I love that. I'm proud of you.
Oh, do we have more questions?
Yes.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Fire round, okay?
Fire round.
We have to go soon.
Yeah, we have to go.
1 hour, 5 minutes.
Okay.
Okay. Fire round. Most irritating thing about the other person. Maybe we can do the TikTok about what gives me the ick.
Okay.
Let's do the TikTok too, yeah. But I think the most irritating thing about the other person is the fact that you never remember things, the fact that you soak your dishes, and you fucking like to turn on the goddamn light in the middle of the fucking night, even though there's light and you can still see.
Oh my god. The most irritating thing about Steffi? Nothing. Just kidding.
She talks so much.
What?
She talks so much.
Sometimes she gets, I've learned to accept it though. But sometimes it's like, it annoys me just a little bit because it breaks my train of thought. Is I'm in the middle of like, my story, and then you go on a tangent and then like insert, something that I think could wait until I'm finished with my story. But I've learned to love that about you though. I'm like, oh, that's so Steffi, But if it really does bother me, I've learned to be like, hey, let me finish. I've learned to speak up when in the past I haven't.
Okay.
Another thing is,
what's the most irritating thing? So the fact that I interrupt you.
The fact that sometimes you interrupt me. The other thing is that when when you come home, especially after a long day, you see a trail of Steffi's things that you can follow along to know where she is. Like, she comes home, she drops her bag here, and then she takes off her jacket, drops the jacket there, and then she takes off her little purse, drops the purse there. So you kind of follow her trail, and you kind of see that, oh, she's had a long day and she is leaving her stuff everywhere. So that's a little bit of like, ah. Another thing is, the last thing I would say is, you don't soak your dishes. Just kidding. When you're done with your dishes or you've done with your meal, and you just you leave it there on the island counter. And I've learned to tell you, hey, can you take this dish and put it in the sink instead of just leaving it on the island counter?
But the thing is that for me, that's how I do it.
Yeah.
Because I hate it when people leave shit in the sink.
Yeah.
Because it's like, then how am I supposed to fucking start?
So we're very
everything is
different.
everywhere.
We're very different.
Everything
there.
is everywhere. Everything is soaked with everything. Everything is greasy. Everything is
That's
nasty.
why we have 2 sinks, guys.
Everything is nasty.
So
And you're just putting shit in the sink. How am I supposed to start?
Yeah. So when I'm doing dishes, I'm like,
Nasty.
hey, Steffi, can you please put it in the sink? Just rinse it with a
That's
little
why
water.
when you're not there, I just put it outside because I don't know who's going to do it.
Exactly.
Maybe I feel inspired and I do it.
Okay. No. So there you go. That's the answer. I love you though.
I love it. You know that sometimes I actually do that on purpose because I find, like, you know, like the jumping in the puddle. Like when I was little, I
Yeah.
was not allowed to like do that stupid shit.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
you just don't do that. Like you either like, if you're gonna leave it in the counter, you're gonna leave it in the counter and like you'll like hear from it,
Yeah.
or you leave it, you just do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You dish it, or you like leave it in the.
You're asking
I
me?
don't even think you leave it like we left it in the sink. But when I do it as an adult person in the house, and I know that you're gonna wash my dish after, I get so much satisfaction. Like my inner child jumps.
Just
like,
wants to leave it everywhere.
No, just like with leaving the dish on the countertop.
Yeah.
It's just like she's happy.
Okay.
So you want my inner child to be happy, so I shall continue that.
yeah, it's like, you
Just
know,
like your inner child, I'm sure is happy when you see the plate soaked.
yeah.
Like when you see like a plate that I've left behind and it's soaked. I'm
It's
sure you're a very happy person.
yeah, as what Andrew said, like our therapist,
Couples therapist.
our couples therapist, like he said, like what is the level of like
Stakes.
stakes on this? Like it's low stakes. Like
Yeah.
it just is something that's just like ugh, whatever. I just grab it and I put it in sync. But it's not like something that's I'm like, okay, we need to talk. You know?
Okay.
What else?
The episode is not about finding X, but I feel like now I'm competitive.
no more eggs, no more eggs, no more eggs.
Now I'm competitive and I need to finalize with
You
a
need
final
one more.
egg.
You need one more. What is it?
I hate that you always pick up my socks and instead of putting it in the dirty, you put it in Guillermo's bed.
Because I
It's
think
because
that
I like to give Guillermo my dirty socks because he's a happy person and I like to make him happy.
I do that on purpose because I'm like, okay, if you throw it on the floor, at least I'm gonna put it in a place that doesn't feel like it's everywhere. So I put it in Guillermo's bed and you know where to find it.
Okay. Each other's first impression when you guys met. I would say that go to listen to that first episode, but my first impression when we met was that I thought Mei Jun was I would say I always thought that you were complex in terms of like you were you made me really curious
Mm-hmm.
to kind of like approach you
Yeah.
because you were a little bit introverted at first, especially like an international week, because I had made friends with Floor and I had made friends with the sophomores and like all that stuff, and you were older than us,
Yeah.
and you didn't speak that much
Mm-hmm.
in those first. And then when I first met you, which was when we were sitting around like saying each other's names, you were like, hi, my name is not Michael, but then your name was really Mei Jun.
Yeah.
And like, I just always thought that I was very curious
Yeah.
about like
Yeah.
I always thought that there was just like something else. Like,
Mm-hmm.
wait, but like, tell me more.
Yeah.
So I think that's and I didn't think you were handsome.
Yeah.
And then I saw you,
don't
and then I
think
saw
was
you for
handsome.
junior year.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh shit.
I
So
don't
I would
think
say
I was
that was my
handsome either.
third impression of him. It was like, oh shit, he's got game and he's coming for us.
I had braces and like I didn't have the best haircut.
His feet smelled a little bit.
I guess my feet smell. My like
Okay, we don't
my
need to
sense
go
of style.
into Majon's like
That's true. Okay. Let's cut it there.
self-deprecation. But you were really thoughtful and sweet, and you always
Yeah.
made me videos for my birthdays, and you sang me songs.
I try
and
to
you
be kind.
massaged me, and you were like really nice to me.
Yeah, I try my best.
So I was always curious. I would say that was my first impression.
Interesting. So my first impression of Estefi was that she was a person that was also very complex and a person that knew what she wanted, a person that knew how to have fun and knew how to say what was on her mind. And that was something that intrigued me a lot because I was the complete opposite. I, during that time, I was very much like I had a very strong people pleasing like personality and tendencies. So I never really like knew how to ask for what I want, but seeing you and you being able to like ask for what you want and do what you want, and if you wanted to have a party, you have a party. If you wanted to drink, you wanted to drink. If you wanted to go somewhere, you go somewhere. If you wanted to go on a date here, you go on a date here. Like that was something that was like very attractive to me. Obviously you're very beautiful when I saw you, but I'm not talking about the physical, but like just the personality part. Like my first impression of you was that you were very like an independent person that knew what she wanted and knew how to get what she wanted.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I love you.
Love you too.
Okay, so next question. What story were you playing in your head in terms of our future as a couple when we landed in Ecuador the first week? So this was like a really huge question you asked during brunch, and I think it's like a very layered like answer, and I would say that maybe we can do a whole podcast about this, and I think this is gonna go really well into our part 4 of our story episode, in terms of like what we thought we were getting ourselves into versus kind of what ended up becoming what we got ourselves into. But I would say the first thing when we landed in Ecuador was, when am I going to get out of here and when am I going to get out of my parents' house? In summary.
Wow.
That was like my biggest thing of like this story. I was like, okay, when am I, like, what is next? Like, just what is the next step? Like, I need to get out of my parents' house and like, like,
that's interesting.
I need to get out of like this in a way. So I've always been in like fight or flight. So I think when COVID started, I panicked and I was like, oh my gosh, we're frozen and we're stuck here. What are we doing now? And my life is over and everything just came crumbling. And I think I'm still going through that, but much better.
So the question was, what was our first, like,
you asked this question, which was, what's the story that you were telling in your head the first few weeks of being in Ecuador in terms of our like our couple's kind of future life?
I think
your personal whatever.
I think for me there was, it's really hard. Like I don't remember what I had said to you last time, but as I'm thinking about it again, like I think that there was a lot of ignorance. There was a lot of ignorance on my end of what really to expect. I think I was also just trying really hard to readapt again to a whole new life, because I've been adapting to new lives ever since my whole life, from China to Jamaica and then Jamaica to the States, and now the States. Even within the States, we was from upstate to the city, and then now in Ecuador to a completely different place, new language, new culture. I had to readjust my whole life again and start from scratch. I think so. That was a lot for me, in the sense that, God damn it, I have to like start again, meet new people, learn a new language. Like, so it was, I think, thinking about it now, more complicated than I made it out to be back then. I think on the positive side for me, which is the opposite for you, was that I felt a sense of security, knowing that I can lean on your parents and knowing that I had like people that actually cared about me and are helping me with my paperwork, with my visa situation, with a place to live. Like I had people to lean on, so I felt like I could breathe a little bit as I'm figuring out and starting from scratch again. Whether it's the studio, like creating our website and all that stuff, I felt like I had a little bit of time and a little bit of like compassion and just like
a safety blanket.
To make mistakes if I have made a mistake, I can lean on them. And so that's kind of like that, and just knowing that, okay, at the same time we have to get our shit together, so that I have to make money. So all of that was happening in my head back then, and obviously I did not know the language at all, and that was really hard for me as a social butterfly.
I think it was just really hard, the fact that you were having so much of an easier time adapting to Ecuador than me, as being the person that kind of has the anchor here. I think that has been really hard. And just I think it was really hard for me to have to open up to you so much about my monsters, my ghosts. Like there was a lot of vulnerability that had to come from my side in
Yeah.
order for you to really understand how hard life was really, or it really is
Absolutely.
for me. Because it was such a different perspective from your end. Like
Mm-hmm.
we even talked the first time we talked about this question, like we put in the same example and I was like, oh no, that was my cue to run. And Majan was like, oh, that was my cue to stay.
Yeah.
You know? So I think the biggest difference in our story is that you've always found a sense of comfort with being here, and I've always found a sense of urgency
Yeah, it's a big difference.
to see what's next in
Absolutely.
me.
Yeah.
Because this place, and I'm healing and I'm going there, but I think that's really complex. So the next question is, how do you recover from a fight? Like after a fight, and this is a question that had been asked to us before that I never got to ask in the podcast. And I would say, just to keep it quick, listen to our podcast episode on our couples therapy regarding safe spaces. And now I have to say that the biggest way that we recover from a fight is giving ourselves space, hugging, messaging each other, like utilizing other ways of communicating that's not voice. Whether that is via a handwritten letter or a text message, etc. Space is key. Non-shamed space, non-guilty space, and putting your ego aside and knowing that you are in the same team, knowing that it's not one person against each other, and knowing that at the end of the day, like you want both of us to pull through. So putting that ego aside and being like, hey, do you want to eat together? Like, I know that our relationship, we had a fight, but I love to talk to you as a friend, you know? Or like I tell Major, like, hey, I love to go on a date with you as a friend instead of like a romantic partner, you know?
Yeah.
Something like that. So I think that's something that helps us.
Yeah. I think, as you said, I have the same answer. The space is so important. And why is that important? Because it gives us our individual, like, time to really go through the tunnel of whatever emotions we were feeling so that we can really process it and understand it and just play it out so that we can learn from the situation. And it's not about ego. It's not, and as Brene Brown said, it's not about like being right, but it's about getting it right. So, you know, next time, how can we get it right and not be the person that has to be right?
Yeah.
Because it's not a competition.
Yeah. But it's hard.
It's a lot harder, so much harder than you can say it in words. And I think the last thing is for us to really work on the trusting and communication part of things, and really understanding what we need from each other before getting into something. Like before you're upset about this thing, what do you need? Okay, you understand what you need, then you talk to your partner about it. So I think that's something that help us recover.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. And last question, tips for when you're starting to live together. Another question that somebody had asked. I would say the biggest tips is understanding that this is going to be really new and really hard. Two, understanding that most of the time you're talking to someone else's inner child and like parental trauma, whether they think of it or not. Also understanding that most of the time we're going to almost try and recreate things that we've seen in our family subconsciously or consciously, and knowing that you're a team and that, you know, you at the end of the day love each other. But I do think that there's a lot of levels of having to learn from yourself and set boundaries, and like, what is something that I do because I'm lacking control or something that I'm doing because it means something to me. So I think that's my biggest thing for when you're living, like first living together.
Yeah.
know?
I think for me is having two sinks. Just kidding. But that's actually not a bad idea. I think my biggest advice on, living together for the first time is just really being clear and setting expectations on like things around the house, like
Mm.
what do you do? What do you need to do to pull weight? What do I need to do to pull weight? So that there's no resentment
Yeah.
between each other.
What
So
are our roles?
what are our roles? And then sticking to those roles and making that official so that there's no like confusion. Being very clear about that. So the setting expectations and setting roles is super important. And also just knowing that you need to give each other grace and not be so quick to assume and judge
Yeah.
based on something that
And also not think that you're being judged all the time.
exactly
Also knowing that you feel like you're being judged because
yeah,
your inner child
that's
is
true.
literally
It goes both
being
ways.
judged.
Exactly, it goes
you
both
know?
ways. Yeah,
It's like we have like multiple people even within the one person. You know,
Yeah.
it's like my inner child feels judged even if my adult doesn't feel judged.
yeah, exactly, totally.
know?
I think that's so
Mind
important.
fucking.
Yeah, and just like talk.
Yeah, the expectations I think is important.
Yeah, and just be very clear and talk to each other.
I know, but it's also
Yeah.
hard. You have a relationship, you didn't even know how to talk to me, you know?
Absolutely,
So
and
I
that's,
think-
that takes time to
But I
learn
think
how
exactly
to do it.
giving yourself time
Time,
and
yeah.
grace, and like if you can't set expectations tomorrow, that's
Yeah.
okay. Maybe start with like leaving a post-it note
Yeah, exactly.
of like, hey, this is my favorite cheese. Could you not eat it?
yeah,
You know? Or like, hey, I love it when I love the fact that you love my marmalade, but can you please not use the knife and like stick a whole knife out of it because
Yeah.
it's something I bought for myself.
and like stuff
Small
that.
stupid shit like that.
And yeah, exactly, and stuff that you've told me, like, hey, like, can you not turn the lights on in the late night going to
Yeah,
the bathroom?
Exactly. Or
So-
like, okay, if you need to turn the lights
Can you
on,
close
what
the
is
door?
something that we can do? Can you close the door?
Yeah.
Or like, oh, it's the fact that the toilet is dark. Let's find like a toilet light.
Yeah.
You know, like
And it's
I think
being
finding
able
solutions.
being able to communicate those things, learning how to communicate those things without judgment, without ego,
Yeah.
and just knowing that, hey, this, I want to live with you, and these
Yeah.
are some of the things that help me live with you better.
Yeah.
You
I
know?
love that. Okay. So I hope that these questions were fun to listen to. I hope that you learned that even if you have technical issues, things don't have to be perfect and you can start over. And I want to
Mhm.
thank you for your patience and for being here, even though you had to respond to some questions over.
That's okay.
And I hope that this was a fun episode to do at the start of 2023.
It was.
I hope to have you here more often, and I hope to be releasing more episodes. But so far, we're going to have once a month. This is
Okay.
your January episode, and I am excited to have had the time to sit with you, Meijun,
Mhm.
and for you people to have had the time to press play.
It was
Thank you.
it was extremely fun. It was a pleasure being here and talking and reminiscing and going through all these questions, because it felt like a retrospective in a way that we tend to always love doing. And yeah, I had a great time. Thank you for having me, and I'm excited to be in the next episode, whatever topic we'll be talking about. So yeah, thank you for listening as well, everyone. And that's it.
Bye,
We out.
friends. Bye.
Bye.